Hey, how's it going out there today, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day. It is January 10th. It's Friday. The sun has gone down. I've got every light on this truck on, but it still kind of looks dark in here. On the phone, all these LED lights, it's like blindingly bright in here. So, I'm going to talk about the week, what I've been doing in this video. I got a few things I want to touch on first. I want to touch on the presidential election coming up this year. We're officially in an election year. I want to talk about some things I saw in Wisconsin this week, good, bad, indifferent. And, just a general little recap video. So, first things first, let's talk about politics. Everybody's favorite subject. And before everybody tunes out, remember it's me you're listening to, so, just roll with it for a second. So I finally got all this influence. I've got upwards of 600, almost 600 subscribers on YouTube. So I want to put all my influence behind a candidate and make some change, make some things happen with all this power. So, I've picked a candidate. I think we should all back them. I think this November we should all go to the polls. And then when we're done at the strip club, we should definitely go vote for this guy. Everybody should. So, without further ado, let's just get down to the brass tacks of it. I think we should all vote for me. Let's just write in Cash is King Trucking. Go into the election site, take a Sharpie with you. Matter of fact, take one of those big, heavy-duty black markers that those certain kind of kids used to huff in grade school. Take one of those with you. Just X out all the other candidates and put Cash is King Trucking in there. Because let's face it, can't do much worse than what we're dealing with these days, or, in my lifetime. I don't know about presidents before that, I only judge them on what I see and the past history, you can't really go by that a lot with, the winners write history, so you really never know what happened. But I'm a great candidate. Let's get down to it. I'm a great candidate. I am well-rounded, and I'm talking physically, not qualification-wise. If you elect me, I will keep some of my campaign promises, and I will break some of my campaign promises. Which ones that's the exciting part, is if you elect me, you get to find out what I'm going to stick to and what I'm not going to stick to. That's the beauty of it. It's going to be exciting. And if you elect me, I promise Andrew Yang will get $1,000 a month to live on, or $1,000 a week, or whatever it is he's proposing. I'll make sure he has to live on that for years to come. At least while I'm president. And, like Elizabeth Warren, I am part Indian. I don't know what percentage. I can't afford 23andMe, so, or 23, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, the DNA thing. I can't afford that. So, I'll just tell you, I'm part Indian. Can't hurt. Throwing it in there. But yeah, vote me. Vote me. We're going to go to the polls, and then we're going to go vote. So, let's talk about this week a little bit, now that all that's over with. But things I saw in Wisconsin this week, okay? First thing I saw in Wisconsin this week, have you seen these signs? When you roll into a town and it says speed limit 40, and then it's got a little radar with an electronic sign that says you're doing 47 or you're doing 48, slow down. Now they got them. I seen one in Wisconsin the other day that underneath it, it's got a second electronic sign, and it tells you what the fine would be if you got pulled over doing that speed in that zone. And apparently, I think it's for cars. Mine would have been 175. I was pretty impressed with that. I was like, nice. That might be the high score of the day. We'll have to wait and see, though. Luckily, I did not get pulled over. I slowed down. It's a pretty effective sign. When I seen 175, I was like, oh, man, I can't afford that. I got to slow down. So, Got out of a truck stop this morning. Other things I've seen in Wisconsin. Got out of a truck stop this morning. Went in to get a soda, bright and early. Guy pulls up from the fuel island up to the line like you're supposed to. Hops out of his truck. Out of the corner of my eye, I kind of see he's walking. Truck's still moving. Luckily, it was pretty flat ground. He ran. He jumped into it. It was a day cab, 53-foot trailer. I won't say the company name, nothing like that. I don't want to, put anybody on Front Street, but he got it stopped. Luckily, he jumped in it, popped the brakes. If he'd have been on steeper ground, he'd have been in a mess. But he saw that I saw, but I didn't say anything about it. I just kind of kept going. Wasn't none of my business. Nobody got hurt. So when you get out of your truck, be sure to set your parking brake. It's just a good habit. I mean, honestly, you got bad habits, you got good habits. I recommend setting your brake when you get out of your truck at the truck stop. I'm a stickler for stuff like that. That's just how I am. Next thing I saw in Wisconsin this week really, really, really got under my skin. So, quick little story here. You know how I am with quick stories. They turn into long stories. Get your GPS out because I may get off track a little bit. So, I'm going to try to make this story quick. I don't know if that's possible with me, so I'm cruising into Madison, where it opens up to 3 lanes coming from Minneapolis, rolling eastbound, and a little white pickup truck goes blowing by me, doing about 80. I don't care how fast you go. Don't kill nobody, don't destroy no property, and stay out of my way, and honest to God, I don't care how fast you go. So he blows by me at about 80, comes back. About 2 miles later, we're in a 3-lane road. He's in the middle lane. I pass him on the right. He's doing about 55 now. He's been on his phone the whole time, but now he's on his phone. He's literally driving with his elbow, phone up to his head, trying to write something down on the steering wheel. He's got a piece of paper on there. He's trying to write down. He's riding right beside my trailer tires, just swerving all over the place. I slow down. He's doing 55 at this point, and I go by him, and as I go by him, right as, when my trailer tires get to his truck, he decides it's go time. So now he wants to ride beside me. I slow down, he won't go on. He's just right beside me, swerving, okay? So we top a little rise, bam, state trooper sitting right in the middle. I'm like, oh man, because he's holding that phone on this side next to the window. State trooper pulls out right behind us, and this is early morning. This is just as the sun's coming up. There's not a lot of traffic. State trooper pulls out, little SUV, pulls out right behind us. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Finally, one of these bad drivers is going to get a ticket. No. Not gonna happen. Not in this world. The guy swerves over, gets behind me, and state trooper rolls on down the left lane. Funny thing is, I look over at the state trooper as he goes by, and I kid you not, he's got his phone down on his thigh, texting. The state trooper does. So I'm like, where is the justice in Wisconsin? It's rolling down 94 in the Hammer lane doing about 85 texting while he's doing it. Oh man, I was like, yes, finally somebody's going to get the ticket they deserve. No. Soon as the state trooper, he goes up, throws his lights on, cuts into the median, go back the other way, or setting the median there. I don't know what he was planning on doing, but as soon as he done that, here comes the little white truck, jumps out from behind me, takes off doing 80. Never see him again. Thank God. But yeah, so shout out to all the Wisconsin state troopers in the Madison area. One of you guys is a real piece of work. Talk about lead by example. Sitting there, literally, as he pulls out on the road, gets up to his 80 mile an hour speed that he's gonna do. As he comes by me, I look over, and yeah, he's got his hand on his thigh with his phone in his hand, texting on it. I'm just like, God, but can't make this stuff up. It just made me so mad because, I got my hopes up. I was like, finally, this guy's fixing to get some justice. You know, the swerving on his phone, writing on his steering wheel. Not in this world. So, what have I been up to this week? That's the real meat and potatoes of this story. So, just looking over a few things here. Picked a load up off the yard, that nightmare load the other day I made a video about. All said and done on that, ended up just taking it back to the yard. Grabbed a load off the yard that went to Ohio. Retail distribution center. That went 600 miles. It was about 25,000 pounds. Good load. Came down to the distribution center and grabbed a load out of there that was about 200 miles heading into kind of around Columbus. It was kind of a rural store delivery. I mean, not super rural, but didn't go to any major city. Knocked that out, got that done. And I like that because that's 600 miles from the yard to the distribution center, and then almost 200 more from the distribution center to the store. So that's 800 miles of running with no deadhead on it. I'm talking 0 miles of deadhead. Love that stuff. Dropping and hooking on both ends. The store delivery is a live unload, but they typically try to keep them between like an hour and 2 hours. It's a really quick unload the way they got it all set up. It's just a matter of, does the store have the staff to handle the delivery at the time? So then from there we went down and I came up in Ohio. I had about a 60-mile deadhead to pick up a load out of Ohio going to Illinois. It was a load of pet food. It was super heavy. It's one of those places where they scale you in and they scale you out so they can put every single bag of food on there they can. Was not a huge fan of that load. Into the wind. Like I said, super heavy. I averaged about 6.4 miles a gallon on that. I was not happy with that. It did pay decent, but still not great. Not a lot of deadhead on it. But, 350 mile load, so 60 miles of deadhead's a pretty good chunk of deadhead on that. And then we came over from Illinois. Big deadhead on this one. 142 miles of deadhead on this one. On a 300 mile run. So they threw a little extra on it for all that deadhead, but it did not make it worth it. I was pretty disappointed in it. I argued with them on it for a while. Apparently someone was going to pick up this load. This is a customer load. It's supposed to be drop and hook at the facility where you pick up. It does take them a long time to load it because it's a floor stack load. That's why we do drop and hook. But the guy went all the way over there with a trailer that had issues. I don't know if he knew it or not. He obviously did not inspect the trailer very well because it was a pretty blatant issue, when you look up at the roof of your trailer, and I know a lot of times when you're doing drop and hook, you may not open the doors and get in there and inspect the trailer. I could have probably been guilty of this from time to time. It is one thing I do these days because of, I know the customers that we use, they are going to, when you put a retail load on a trailer, you're not going to put it in a trailer with a hole the size of a beer can in the roof, and that's basically what was going on there. This was not a retail load. It was going back to that, it was going back to a distribution center in Wisconsin, but, it was a manufacturer load, and, they weren't going to load it, so I had to drive 142 miles deadhead over there to get this little 300 mile load going from, I think it was like 350 miles going from Iowa back up into Wisconsin. It was very light. It was only a 10,000 pound load. That's probably why they floor stack it, because it was top to bottom, front to back. But it just is what it is. I can't do anything about it. I wish he would have inspected his trailer before he went over there with it, but like I said, I can't put too much, I I can't be too judgmental on it, because the fact of the matter is, I have drop and hook trailers, and, you know, there could have been a hole in the roof halfway up. I wouldn't have noticed it, especially, you know, if it's not full daylight outside. You know, I always look in the trailer just to see if there's a bunch of garbage or a pallet, you know, broken pallet or left in there or something. I mean, you never know with these places. So, I told him, I said, hey, I can't afford to do, you know, at the rate we're running at here, you know, I would say ballpark, since the beginning of the year, I'm probably like $1.60 to the truck, maybe. All miles after discount and everything. I'm probably in that $1.60-ish range, $1.50-ish maybe. High 50s, you know, like 55 to, I don't know, somewhere in there. I haven't done the numbers on it yet, but that's where I would say I'm at. So I'm like, you know, at that kind of rate, 350 mile load with a 150 mile deadhead. Like I said, they did throw a little bit on it, but it did not, it was not what I wanted for a 150 mile deadhead. But I guess if you think about it, you know, earlier in the week, I had, you know, 800 miles of running with no deadhead. So if you figure it all up, you know, it's like, if you take the 800 miles plus the 350 that this was, you know, 142 mile deadhead is like, it's probably still going to put me over 10%, just that for the week. So I don't know. The load I'm on now has probably got about a 10% deadhead on it. It's a load to Atlanta, FedEx run. I don't know. I haven't figured out my numbers for the week, but I would say my deadhead's going to be a little bit more this week just because of that one giant deadhead, you know. I mean, when you put a 150 mile deadhead on a 350 mile load, it really messes up your numbers for the week, because I try to keep my deadhead between 0 and 10%, just as a general rule of business. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes. So I did that load. That went up into Minnesota, dropped that. Or excuse me, that went up into Wisconsin. That was a drop and hook this morning. They wanted it there last night. I was about 30 minutes short on hours, and they had freezing rain in Wisconsin yesterday, so I was in real no rush. They said, we'll deliver it as early as you can. Again, I didn't have a load planned out, so I was kind of like, I'm not going to run up there at 2 o'clock in the morning with no load and then sit there till 7 or 8 in the morning. So they were a little irate with me when I got there at 7:30 this morning. But, you know, it was like 8 o'clock, 8:30 before, you know, when they sent me my next load. So it actually, for me personally, it timed out great. You know what I mean? Like, I drop, I hook, I got another load, I run over and get it. I don't know. I do things for me, to benefit me. I'm not going to do things to spite them, but I'm also not going to run over there at 2 in the morning and then sit there till 8, because, you know, pretty much there goes my day right there. And honestly, I don't think a place of that size gives two craps what time I get there. If I'd have got there at 2 in the morning, I'd have dropped that trailer and it probably would have sat there. That trailer's probably still sitting there. Probably still hasn't been unloaded. Maybe it has. Maybe it was a rush, but for what was in it, you know, and I don't run their business, so I'm not going to say, well, they didn't need it. So I'm just saying, I don't think the stores are going to see same store sales go down because I didn't make that delivery that day, or at 2 in the morning versus, you know, 7:30 in the morning. Again, I run my business, you know, like they told a lot of the people in orientation things that I just threw it out the window, honestly. I mean, I'm running my business, you know what I mean? I know one of those people were company drivers, so, you know, they got a whole different mindset than me. But the other owner operator there, I don't know, I told him, you know, you might as well just forget a lot of what they just told you, because it's going to end up costing you a lot of money in the long run, you know, like, simple things like they tell you, oh, don't buy fuel on Sunday because, you know, the cutoff for fuel, the fuel card is Monday morning at midnight. And I'm like, if you need fuel, buy fuel. You going to burn it this week, you going to burn it next week, you know. Don't bypass buying cheap fuel and then run into Pennsylvania and have to fill up, you know, at $3.79 or whatever it is right now a gallon over there when you could have got it in, you know, Virginia for, you know, $3. Like, some of the stuff they said, just, it was such a short-term mindset, you know. But anyway, that's a little rant there. Hope everybody appreciated it. I'm going to hop off here. I hope everybody stuck around this far. If you did, thank you very much. Thank you for all the comments. I do appreciate all that. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Take care of each other out there. Bye.